All clear.
Nothing above, nothing below.
Surprise, Sydney.
If you like horror, hit that notification bell, smash that like button, and push that subscribe button now.
What's the boogeyman?
Hello, Sydney.
Welcome to my nightmare. We want the man who did this.
Welcome to Nick Push's Horror Channel.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy almost Friday. It is Thursday, August the 24th, 2023. Figured let's jump on live. I need to go live more. And let's just talk some horror, guys. I mean, we're kind of pushing through summer here. I said it last week. We're pushing through summer. We're getting closer to October. Get into that exciting time of year. There is no Halloween movie this year. And that's a good thing, I think, because we're going to get to, we might not be marathoning all the Halloween movies. I know a lot of us still will be, but it's a good chance to check out some other horror franchises and some other, other horror movies that, might be forgotten a little bit. It's always great when there's a Halloween movie coming out, especially in October, which is a damn shame. They released Halloween movies in August for some reason in the 90s. But it's nice to kind of not have a Halloween movie this year too, because we had 2 straight years of the Halloween movie, and it's just ramping up for Michael Myers, and now we can watch the good ones, right? We can pick and choose the movies we want to watch. So it's going to be nice to find some other horror movies to watch is kind of my thing. As I sit here always talking Halloween, but still, you know what I mean. Let's see who we got in the chat here. Jim Bob is in the house. What up, Jim Bob? Says, all right, sir. Jim Bob, how you doing, man? Jen Werner. Jen, haven't seen you in a while. Hope you are doing well. Jen, I always love when you make an appearance. You are awesome to have here. And Mikey loves movies. Coming in hard right away with Ends Blows. Yeah, a lot of people were disappointed last October, weren't they? It's been, almost 10 months, right? No, over 10 months, right? It's been over 10 months and the hatred is still there. Jen Werner says, looking forward to The Exorcist. Yeah, me too. I liked what I saw in the trailer, and obviously what you see in the trailer is just there for marketing. Its job is to get you excited for the movie, and it did. If there was a shit trailer, doesn't mean there's going to be a shit movie, but if the trailer was shit, I probably won't be as excited as I am now to see it. It's definitely a movie that I was kind of 50-50 whether I was going to see it in the theaters. I saw the trailer and it did its job, because I'm going to go see The Exorcist in the theaters. I hope it does the property of The Exorcist justice. And we'll see. A lot of people have reservations because of David Gordon Green. And in some aspects, rightfully so. But in other aspects, David Gordon Green did a fine job in certain aspects of the new trilogy we got. Jim Bob says that blowtorch kill was fire. What blowtorch kill? Which one are you talking about, Jim Bob? Oh, he's talking about in Ends. Yeah, that kill was ridiculous. That kill was absolutely ridiculous. It's not even Myers, obviously. It's Corey Cunningham, but that whole junkyard scene in Ends, I love it. I don't care what anyone says. I love the score. I love the atmosphere. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that whole junkyard scene. I enjoyed Ends too, Jim Bob. I really did. It's unfortunate that it was, the final movie in a trilogy. I liked a lot of things that they did, and there's so many things about it. Watching it and saying the plot, it's a movie I should hate, but I just don't. I really, really don't. I appreciate a lot of the things they did. I don't agree with a lot of creative decisions they made, but I actually enjoy the movie, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see how it ages among fans. Jimmy999X, what's up, Jimmy? Says, weird not having a new Halloween movie to wonder about. It's crazy, man, because, like I said, we've had 2 straight Octobers with the Halloween movie coming out. And then obviously we had COVID in between that. And then we had a year in COVID in between that, right? And then we had Halloween 2018. Before that, though, like I said, these movies were coming out in August. We didn't have shit as far as looking forward to Halloween movies. So that's why, I said it last year. We really need to appreciate the fact that there was a Halloween movie coming out in October. And no matter what you think of some of the creative decisions that they made in Ends, it was still cool just to have that build up. Jen agrees with me. She did not hate Ends. Review It Rob is in the house. What's up, Rob, man? How's it going? How is it going? Here we go. Mikey likes movies. I don't know why I keep saying loves movies. Mikey, I know you are a recent new subscriber, so I appreciate that, my friend. Says Myers had more screen time in Halloween 3 than he did in Ends. I wonder if that's actually, I know you're making a joke here, but I wonder if that's actually true. Obviously, in Halloween 3, he's on the TV in a commercial in the bar, right? And then when Chalice is locked up or trapped, by Cochran at the end of the movie, Halloween's playing on TV as well, when Laurie goes across the street and things like that. And, they keep flashing the little parts of the movie on the TV. So I wonder, I think he probably had more screen time in Ends because he was laying on that table pinned down for a while, but it's probably closer than you would think. Jimmy999X says, is it true that in the third Exorcist movie, the girl will be possessed by Corey Cunningham? I think it is, actually. I did see that leaked, and they hit it real quick. So yes. Could you imagine if David Gordon Green did that just as a big fuck you to all the Halloween fans? As much as that would make me want to cry, that it would really be kind of funny. Rob says, going good, man. Excited about all the Chucky stuff with the new trailer for season 3 and HHN. Yeah, there's going to be a Chucky house at Halloween Horror Nights. I don't know if it's in California and in Orlando, but it's definitely at Universal Florida. And then, Chucky season 3 is, I don't know when it's coming out, but it's got to be soon because season 2, I can't remember when that ended. I still haven't seen any of the Chucky series, but I did just watch Child's Play 2 last week Sunday, and God, that's easily my favorite movie in the franchise. I know the original is awesome, right? Because it's kind of new and things like that, and everyone loves Bride of Chucky, and for good reason. That's kind of the Jason Lives, the Nightmare 4 of the Chucky franchise, Child's Play franchise. But for me, Child's Play 2 is it. That third act in Child's Play 2 is one of my favorite third acts in horror. In the Good Guy Factory, oh, it's so good. Kyle is such a great character. The relationship between Kyle and Andy Barclay in Child's Play 2 is awesome. It's right when they kind of realized what they had with Chucky and what they had with Brad Dourif, and that's when Brad Dourif kind of started making the role his own. And, kind of became, a quasi Freddy Krueger type with the quips and shit like that. Jimmy says, might be correct if you count the time Dick Warlock was on Scream in Halloween 3. Dude, that's right. You might be correct. Dick Warlock was obviously one of the androids, right? Androids, robots, whatever, in Halloween 3. I think he's the one that pulled off that homeless guy's head, if I'm not mistaken. Jim Bob says, anyone seen Talk to Me? If so, was it worth watching? I have not seen Talk to Me. I've seen the trailer, and I thought the trailer looked extremely, extremely good. Like one of the best trailers for a horror movie I've seen in a few years here. And I've heard from reputable sources that I trust that it's really worth checking out and it's really good. I got to make some time and see that at some point in the near future here. Jen agrees. She says, Talk to Me was awesome. Rob says, October 4th this year for season 3. Season 1 is on Peacock and season 2 will be there start of September. Okay. So October 4th, that's a smart time to release the season 3 of Chucky. Very smart time. What else are you guys excited for in horror this year? We got Saw X coming out relatively soon here, right? Is it September? Or did they move it up to August? Is that coming out like this weekend? Let me see here. Let me see. Saw X release date. I got to look this up. Let's see. Saw X is September 29th. End of September, not end of August. Okay. Okay. Are you guys excited for Saw X? I'm not really a Saw guy, and I thought the trailer sucked ass, to be honest. But it's still a horror movie, you know, as we move into October, which is cool. Jen, Sunday night I co-hosted a watch party of the OG Exorcist. Awesome, Jen. Awesome. OG Exorcist is a good movie. I love kind of the little nuances of that movie. It's really good. You know, you obviously get the all the Linda Blair shit is just, it's good, but it's unsettling. You know, your mother sucks cocks in hell and fuck me. You know, all that shit is just, it's unsettling even to watch now. I know, you know, it's dated and things like that, but seeing a little girl, and she's not that little, but seeing a young child go through what she went through in that movie is crazy. And just the story of the Father Karras, right? You know, his whole story, you know, his whole arc kind of in that movie it is fantastic. You know, it's just a good buildup, and you can see why it was why people were shocked. And was that 1973? Was that? Is that 50 years ago? Might be. I think it was 73. Let's see what else we got going on. Here we go. Jen, I am looking forward to Dylan's new Nightmare. Yeah, me too. Me too. I think it's coming out a week from tonight, actually. Very much looking forward to that. I wonder how long it's going to be. I haven't really been paying attention to too much. I obviously saw the trailer. But I wonder how long it's going to be, because a lot of these fan films, you know, I'm expecting them to be 20 minutes and some of them end up being like 40 minutes, which is awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited to see Dylan's new Nightmare 2. Obviously, it's done by Cecil of the Horror Show. You got Dave McRae playing Freddy Krueger, which will be interesting. Most people on YouTube know who Dave McRae is. He's a guy that loves talking his Halloween 2 era as well, I should say. But yeah, it'll be really cool to see what they do in that movie. And it's cool that it's a sequel to New Nightmare, right? You know, New Nightmare is obviously technically not in the Nightmare timeline. It's not in the Nightmare canon, so to speak. But it kind of is, and it's kind of Freddy Krueger, but kind of an evil entity taken over for him. It's really cool. Wes Craven's New Nightmare is fantastic. Fantastic movie that was really, really just ahead of its fucking time, right? It's crazy how ahead of its time it was. And if that came out 10 years later, I think it would have been just a massive hit. Let's see here. Lovey's Fat Life in the house. What's up, Lovey? Says Exorcist was crazy. I remember just seeing the book at the house and being scared. Yeah, it's such a different time, right? Like, think about how much the horror and the world in general has evolved from 1973. Did The Exorcist? I need to fact check myself. Okay, I need to see if The Exorcist came out in 1973. Like, I think Exorcist. Yep, 1973. So 50 years. In the last 50 years, how much we've evolved. I mean, there's shit in The Exorcist now that, you know, is just on basic cable. if anything, if anyone has basic cable anymore. But back then you had all these people protesting, all these religious groups, people fainting in the theater, all kinds of shit. So yeah, we've really evolved a lot in the past 50 years as far as entertainment goes, as far as horror goes, and obviously life in general. So it's interesting. Review at Rob says, I have hope for The Nun 2. Yeah, and I know a lot of people are excited about The Nun 2 as well. I still haven't seen the first one, man. I still have not seen the first Nun. But I'll say this. Valak, is that her name, right? Valak. Her appearance in The Conjuring 2, I believe it was, right? Her appearance in The Conjuring 2 scared the shit out of me. I thought that was really, really well done. Blake is in the house and sending in a super chat. Thank you, Blake. $1.99 super chat says, Nick, thoughts on recent UFO sightings? Well, first of all, like I said, Blake, thanks, buddy, for the $1.99. Now I owe you and Ronnie again. Round and round we go. So I'll put that on my spreadsheet that I owe you guys money. But recent UFO sightings. Are there more recent ones that have come to pass recently? I haven't been paying attention to the news. Work's been crazy lately. But UFO sightings in general. I'm a big X-Files fan. Always have been since I've been a kid. So I've always been intrigued by UFOs and shit like that. I just have. So do I believe these ones are probably real? I don't know enough about them, but I'd say probably 50-50 chance, right? I still think the craziest thing in the last 5 years isn't even the COVID shit and all that bullshit that has gone on with that, however you feel about it, both sides. It's the fact that the government basically admitted that, UFOs were real, aliens were real. And that's not the craziest part. The craziest part that nobody gave a shit. Like they released that shit at the perfect fucking time. So yeah, I am a big UFO, guy. Like I said, big fan of the X-Files when I was a kid. I remember going to the library when I was like, I don't know, 10 years old and, reading like, those weird whatever books, whatever state. I was living in Wisconsin at the time because that's where I lived most of my life. And, I was reading Weird Wisconsin and looking for UFO sightings and things like that. So I mean, I'm always intrigued by UFO sightings, always intrigued by shit like that. All right, let's see what else we got here. Review at Rob, Five Nights at Freddy's hopefully doesn't stink. Yeah, the trailer was good, man. I've never played the game, right, as a game, but the trailer looked really, really good. Looked like a abandoned Chuck E. Cheese where these beings are where craziness ensues, and the fact that it was after closing, and like I said, it was abandoned. It looks abandoned. There's a lot of potential there. Hopefully they don't make it too kid friendly, but I know it kind of has to be kid friendly. But there's some good kid friendly horror, right? What's your guys' favorite horror comedy? Tell me that in the comments. Favorite horror comedy. I'll tell you mine right away. Then we'll get to the chat in a second here. My favorite horror comedy is The Burbs from, is it 88? I think it was 88. Tom Hanks, Bruce Dern, the limo driver from Blank Check. I fucking adore The Burbs. Like, not only is it one of my favorite horror comedies, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. There's just subtle humor in that. And, everyone can relate to weird neighbors, right? So I'm a big fan of The Burbs and what they do. That the way they mix horror and comedy in that movie is great. I don't care what Tom Hanks never mentions it. It's an awesome movie. Real Dead in the house. What's up, Real Dead? How you doing, man? Good to hear from you. Jen makes a good point here. Anything that isn't currently finished is not happening due to the strike. Yeah, it's going to be interesting what this strike does. Eventually it's going to get resolved, obviously, because, people are losing money, whether you're studio or, actors or whatever. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with it. Are we going to have like a big gap, of no new shit coming out? I don't know. Depends how long it goes, right? Yep, Jim Bob, same here. That's right. I forgot all about the strike. God damn it. Yeah, hopefully it can get resolved soon, and hopefully anyone that's getting the shaft, so to speak, can get what they rightfully deserve. Here we go. Review it, Rob. What are your thoughts on the 45th anniversary Comic Con thing for the original Halloween? Yeah, H45. My thoughts are I wish I was going. It is about 5 weeks from now, I think. September 29th, I believe it comes out. I wish I was going. That's my thoughts about it. And I think the reason well, there's many reasons because, us Halloween fans, we're all nuts. And I say that with love, everyone. I'm one of you. But a lot of these actors in the original Halloween, especially Halloween and Halloween 2 and, even Halloween 3, even Halloween 4 at this point, a lot of these actors and people that have worked on these movies are going to unfortunately be passing away before age 50, right? In the next 5 years. We already had George Wilbur die. I believe, did Michael Lerner die too recently? I believe George Wilbur played Myers in Halloween 4 and Halloween 6. He died. I can't see Charles Cyphers making it another 5 years. So this is going to be kind of the last rodeo to see some of these people. Like I said, especially from those early movies. So I think, if you're going to age 45, and like I said, I wish I was, but if you're going to age 45, make sure you take the opportunity to get, whatever you want to get, whether it's a conversation, whether it's an autograph, whether it's a selfie. Do people get autographs anymore? I don't know. Isn't selfies the new thing? But make sure you get that with some of these actors that, might not make it. Jim Bob's Hero Horror Comedy, Shaun of the Dead. That's a good one. I haven't seen Shaun of the Dead in a while. Oops, going right back to you, Jim Bob. Lovey's Fat Life says, Nick, is the Camp Crystal Lake sign behind you from the original film location? It's actually from the original movie. I stole it from Sean Cunningham's estate. No, I'm kidding. No, that sign is from the original movie, but it's just Spirit Halloween. I got it from Spirit Halloween a couple years ago. Yeah, I always like that sign. I think they have it there every year. I think it's still there this year. But it's nice. It's like a solid wood and shit like that. Real Dead says, American Werewolf in London. I was just talking about this the other night, that I need to revisit this movie. I know, I said it the other night too, but I know, I almost said Blake and Ronnie, but I know Frank and Darren from the Slaughtered Lamb movie podcast named their show after this because Slaughtered Lamb, I guess, is a bar in there. So I need to revisit American Werewolf in London. Adam Howard, what's up, Adam? How you doing, man? Says Bride of Chucky. Yeah, Bride of Chucky is definitely a fan favorite. Definitely the best use in the franchise of Jennifer Tilly. And you got what's his face in there? John Ritter's in there. Rest in peace. Jimmy999 says Saturday the 14th was great. Yeah, wasn't that like an early 80s like spoof of, obviously a spoof of Friday the 13th and all those movies? I haven't seen that since I've been a kid. I'll have to check that out. Blake's got a great one here. Club Dread is underrated. Club Dread is awesome. I have that on DVD. It's got Bill Paxton, another RIP, but it's got Bill Paxton. And it's all the guys from Broken Lizard. So it's the same guys that brought us Super Troopers and Beer Fest and shit like that. And it's a horror comedy, and it's got a lot of horror elements to it, even though it leans more in the comedy route because it's those guys. But yeah. Jen says most of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies are comedies to me. Yeah, especially once you get past 2. I know 3 has that great mix of scary and comedic Freddy, right? But once you get past 2, up until New Nightmare, it's definitely comedy. It leans more into the Freddy one-liners. Freddy in part 4 is standing on a beach wearing sunglasses. In part 5, he's spoon-feeding a chick till she dies, right? Part 6, he's playing video games with Breckenmeyer, using a power glove, right? Like, don't even, and he's riding a broomstick, pretending to be the Wicked Witch of the West. So yeah. After part 2, Freddy Krueger started to become a joke. I love 3. Everyone loves 3. But after 3, it's really kind of a big joke. Jimmy999 says, don't forget the Scary Movie series. Yeah, Scary Movies were great. I remember seeing those in the theaters when I was younger. Actually, just rewatched Scary Movie 1 and 2 earlier this month, actually. Needed a laugh. And they hold up great, especially when you're comparing it to Scream. Because the first Scary Movie is basically a combination of Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer. And so many great bits in there. Anna Faris is fantastic. The Wayans brothers are great. Chick that plays Brenda, I can't remember her name. She's great in there. All those, they got extra goofy after part 2, which I agree with Real Dead here. It says Scary Movie 1 and 2 are great. They got extra goofy after part 2, but 1 and 2 are fantastic, spoof comedy movies. They're great. Adam Howard says, Halloween fans are so nuts that they lend credibility to the later Scream movies. They really do, man. They really do. And, I can look in the mirror and say, I am sometimes guilty of that as well. That's why however you feel about Scream 5, and I know it has its fans and I know it has its detractors, right? I adore the motive of Richie and Amber in Scream 5. Essentially, they are rabid fans that want to take over the franchise, right? And write their own version of the Stab series, right? Holy shit, is that relevant today? When you got people like me or whoever, on camera here ranting and raving, about, Michael Myers isn't this, Michael Myers isn't that. I'm a Halloween purist. They did this. How could they do this? That is relevant. So I adore that, the motive in Scream 5. There's certain other aspects of Scream 5 that I'm not so crazy about, but the motive, it was extremely creative, well done, and realistic. And mark my words, something like that can happen. It might be happening right now, but us fans, got to relax a little bit. Gotta relax a little bit. Halloween Ends sucked. A lot of people think, right? Okay. So what? It's a fucking movie. It's a fucking movie. Talk about it, get your opinions out there, but relax a little bit. So yeah, I agree with you, Adam. Lovey's Fat Life says, going to Mad Monster Horror Convention this weekend. Anyone you're excited to see there? Anyone who's on your list, Lovey? Who's on your list to see there? Who's going to be there? Review at Rob says, horror comedy is tough. I like Dark Shadows, Rocky Horror Picture Show, Death Becomes Her, Deathgasm, Tusk, and Freaky, to name a few. Just to pick one movie out of there, Rob. Death Becomes Her is awesome. It's such like a weird tone to that movie. Bruce Willis is obviously in there. And it's got it's so campy. It's so campy, but it's fun. Another campy fun movie. Have you guys ever seen Nothing But Trouble? That movie's fucking ridiculous. Lovey's Fat Life says, I have just one that I like, I have one just like that, but the campers made at the original film site. It's hand painted solid wood. Has Ari Lemon and Adrian King's autograph on it. Gonna get Kane Hodder to sign it this weekend. Holy shit, that is awesome. He's talking about the Camp Crystal Lake sign. So you get the original Jason, young Jason, and the original final girl from the franchise, and you're going to get Kane Hodder, which answers my next question for you, or my other question for you. That is awesome, man. That is awesome. Jen Werner, what does everyone think about Christopher Landon directing Scream 7? Can't speak for anyone, only myself, obviously, but I think it's a good choice. I'm a big fan of Happy Death Day. I think that shows that he has a pulse beat on what modern horror movies should be. I don't love everything about Happy Death Day, and he's obviously going to make some creative decisions that, some of us, might not care for, especially Scream fans who are, a rabid fan base, especially lately. So he's not going to be perfect. But of all the people they could have gotten, I think he is in the top tier of people that that would be a good choice for directing Scream 7. So I think it's a good choice. Radio Silence. Like I said, they like I've said before, they've done a good job. They got the franchise, uh, you know, not back on its feet because it never left its feet because Scream doesn't really have too many weak movies, if any. But they've gotten Scream back in the pulse beat of the pop culture again. And I thought as far as that goes, that they've done a pretty good job there. Let's see here. Jim Bob disagrees with me, though. He says Scream shit the bed after part 2. I don't like part 3. I like part 4. But even not liking part 3, I don't think it's horrible. And I liked 5 and 6 I was mixed on. But there's still aspects of 6 that are very enjoyable. Let's see here. Here's who Lovey's going to see this weekend. Says Heather Langenkamp, Doug Bradley. Doug Bradley played Pinhead, obviously. Kane Hodder, PJ Souls, nice. Horrifier 2 cast, and Amanda Weiss, who played Tina in Nightmare on Elm Street. That's good, man. That is very, very good. Jen, I was going to say I knew Jen. Jen, I knew you were a big fan of Scream 3. That's awesome. That's awesome. Blake wants to know, Nick, how do I get one of those wrenches by my name? You got to be a moderator, man. Do I trust you? I trust you. You want to be a moderator, Blake? You're going to have to convince me you can handle the power. Let me talk to your brother and see what kind of power you got on your own channel, and then we'll talk. Levy says Terrifier 2. Okay, so Terrifier 2 cast. Okay, so that whole cast, nice. Don't say it's all. You don't say sorry. Real Dead says Rose McGowan's there too, right? That'd be cool. Rose McGowan, that'd be a good one, especially for Scream fans. I love her character in the original Scream. She is one of the best friends in horror. I wish she would have survived a little bit longer, but she's got a death scene too that's memorable, right? But yeah, Rose McGowan did a great job in the original Scream. Blake says that he's gonna boot everyone from the chat. I knew you would, man. I knew that's why I got to talk to your brother and see what kind of power you got on your own channel. I'll talk to Ronnie. Review at Rob says Scream just needs to get its guts back. They are scared to kill off main characters now. Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? That they kill off Duty in a brutal way, right? In a brutal way. Okay, they kill off Dewey, and it's like, holy shit, in the middle of the movie, well, maybe like 2/3 of the movie, right? They kill off Dewey, and then they get everyone, and then Scream 6 happens, and everyone gets stabbed and survives. Chad gets stabbed 100 times and survives. Mindy gets kind of half gutted, and then she's running around at the end. Running around. It's crazy. Blake says, Nick, great point and video idea. Top 5 best friends from horror movies. Yeah, that is a good video idea. Like I said, Rose McGowan, Tatum would be top of my head, maybe at the top of that list. I'm trying to think of who else. Helen Shivers, was she a great best friend? I don't know. They were going through so much trauma from what happened a year before that. I don't know how good of a friend, in that term she was. But yeah, who am I missing here? Who are some great best friends from horror movies? All right, let's see what else we got in the chat. We got 15 people here. Thank you, guys. Lubby says, in November, a lot of the Scream original characters will be in Atlanta. Ooh, nice. Nice. I'm sure that'll be popular. Scream is already getting old. 96, you say 96, I feel like that was 10 years ago. It's almost, a few years, that's going to be, 30 years old. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Jim Bob says, I think Jeepers Creepers really had what it takes to be the next big franchise. 1 and 2 were awesome. Then all the stuff with Victor Salva and the next 2 movies were duds. Had so much promise. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the original Jeepers Creepers. I think it's really, really well done. It's really creepy. It's really ominous. Ending is badass. Really badass. The way they ended it with Justin Long's character. And then, yeah, we find out the director is an absolute slime ball douchebag. Just unfortunate. And yeah, the later movies were, God, I haven't seen them, but from what I've heard from the reputable sources that I have heard, they're terrible. Jen says Tina was the best friend of Nancy, briefly. Yeah, very briefly. But she was. Absolutely she was. And it would have been interesting to see a little bit more of their relationship, but I know we had to have that big, brutal kill in Nightmare on Elm Street. Brian's Horror Corner. Hey, Brian, how are you, man? Good to see you. Says, hey, hope everyone's night is going well. Thanks, Brian. Hope your night is going well, too. Rob says, Linda was good to Lori, right? Annie, maybe not. Yeah, Annie was kind of, I don't want to say a bitch, but she was kind of, I don't know. I agree with you. I wouldn't call her a really great best friend to Lori. Linda was decent to her, though. She had that phone call. I mean, we totally will. Like, I don't know. Like, Linda and Annie both weren't that great to Lori. I just feel like Annie was a little more mean-spirited in the way she acted to Lori. No, she wasn't terrible. They're kids. They're 17 years old. Blake says Rob Zombie's Annie was a better friend to Lori. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that. 100%. Obviously we had more time with her because she's in the second one before she's killed off. But yeah, I thought Danielle Harris playing Annie played a better friend. Real Dead says, do you like the movie Cursed? I'd love to see all the deleted footage. I have never seen the movie Cursed, to be honest with you. Is that a vampire movie? Or a werewolf or something like that, right? I can't remember. But I have heard of it. I just haven't seen it. I got a real problem where it says Skeet Ulrich is in there. But I have a real problem where I have all these movies on my list. I have a huge list, right, of movies I need to see that I haven't seen. And I end up watching the same 50 movies all the time. Like, oh, let's put in Halloween 4 again. Let's put in Scream 2 again. I need to start branching out. That's what I was talking about when I first got on tonight, where, as much as, we were spoiled the last couple of years with Halloween movie coming out in October, it's kind of nice to not have a Halloween movie coming out in October because it gives us a chance to, check out some of these other franchises. I've been on a real kick with Invasion of the Body Snatchers 78 with Donald Sutherland. That movie just keeps going higher and higher on my list. Like it's getting so high that it's like neck and neck as far as favorite horror movies. Not quite neck and neck, but it's like just under Halloween for my favorite horror movie. That's how much I've started to just love Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's so fucking good. The world building, the sense of dread and paranoia. It's so good. Just a classic ending to like it's so good. Michael Joe in the house. What up, Michael? How you doing, man? Let's see. Reviewer Rob says, and her Annie has the most devastating scene in Halloween franchise history to me. When she or when I should say when Brad Dourif finds Annie dead, it's one of the best acting in the franchise. Absolutely agree. Brian's Horror Corner says, I'm currently reviewing the Saw series in prep for Saw X. That's awesome. I'll have to check it out, especially the first Saw. I'm a big fan of the first Saw, and Saw 2 is pretty good too. more power to you for reviewing the rest of the franchise, Brian. But that's awesome. Make sure you guys, if you're a fan of the Saw franchise, make sure you guys check out Brian's Horror Corner, because it looks like he's got a lot of content, a lot of Saw content coming your way, because there's a lot of movies in the Saw franchise, obviously. Let's see what we got here. Blake says, get your subscribers to make a list of movies for you and review 1 or 2 a month. Blake, that sounds both awesome and exhausting. Absolutely exhausting, but it is a good movie just to keep adding to the list. I'm with you. Lovey's Fat Life says, I watch the original Friday and Halloween all the time. I've grown up with them and can't get enough. Yeah, it's interesting, huh? That, we've seen these movies hundreds of times probably, and we just keep going back to them. It's awesome. Real Dead says, never seen Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And Pat, hey, Pat, how you doing, man? Thanks for stopping by. Pat says Invasion is amazing. Yeah, I can't get enough of it. I first saw it I saw it like 10 years ago, and I liked it a lot. And then I watched it again maybe 3 years ago, and I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. I've been watching it every year since. I just watched it maybe 2 weeks ago again. Might have been last week, actually. Watched it again, and I'm just enthralled by the story. Like I said, I love that it's set in San Francisco. It's San Francisco in 78, right? San Francisco is a time, especially in the 70s, when it's all about creativity and, it's kind of, the hippie time, and, everybody's got different personalities and shit. And then you bring in these body snatchers, you bring in these aliens that are basically, taking over these bodies, and everyone's bland with no emotion and things like that. It's a great, it's just a perfect place to do that. And Donald Sutherland's awesome. You got a young Jeff Goldblum. I can't remember the main actress's name, but she's great in there. Even Robert Duvall plays some priest on a swing in there for a second. It's fascinating. Let's see here. Blake says, same, Lovey. Watched Friday 5 today. I'm excited to see what you guys think of Friday 5, Blake. I was a little surprised by your guys' reaction to Friday 4, so I'm very curious to see what you guys got to say about Friday 5. Let's see. Real Dad says Friday 2 is better than Friday 1. Jason makes it for me. I'm so mixed on this, guys. Friday 2 or Friday 1. So in a lot of ways, Friday 2 is, in a lot of ways, not every way, but it's almost like the perfect Friday the 13th movie, right? It's kind of a rehash almost of 1, right? But you got Jason, right? And yes, he doesn't have the hockey mask, but he's still Jason. You got Ginny, who is my favorite final girl in the franchise, bar none. But what I love about Friday 1 is, kind of the atmosphere of the whole movie, the way, when Kevin Bacon and Marcy are sitting there talking by the lake, and Marcy is talking about her dreaming blood, and it's dusk, and it's dusk over this big lake, not a fake lake like part 3, but it's dusk, and it's just really creepy. And Ned sees someone go in the cabin, and it's a person, but you can't see. It's so great. And then when night falls, it's lit only by the flashlights, and you feel like you're deep in the woods with these people. There's so many good parts of that. But on the other hand, Friday 2 has so many great things that does better than Friday 1 as well. So yeah, I get the argument there for sure. Blake says, Brett and Pat made a great point. Rob Zombie's bracket is way better than the original. Yeah, I remember I was watching Pat's live stream when they were going over, I think it was, I can't remember who it was, or I can't remember what the topic was, but it was something like, remake characters better than the original or something like that. But yeah, I agree that Brad Dourif was way better than Charles Cyphers, at least as far as the characters are concerned. Jim Bob says The Cursed, aka 8 for Silver, is an awesome werewolf movie. It came out in 2021, and if you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend. Best werewolf movie we've gotten in a long time. First of all, I haven't seen that. I'll have to check that out. We haven't really gotten, you're right, a lot of great werewolf movies. I'm trying to think of the last. I'm not usually a werewolf guy, but I love Silver Bullet with Corey Haim. You guys ever seen that? It's a Stephen King movie. Gary Busey's in there. Like I said, Corey Haim plays the main character. Silver Bullet's awesome. I mean, it's classic, 80s schlock, right? It's classic Stephen King shit. But it's really good. I love Silver Bullet. But I'll have to check out The Cursed, aka 8 for Silver. Okay. Scott agrees. Hey, Scott, how you doing? Says he agrees that 2 is better than 1. Yeah, I was gonna say it's a coin flip for me on those 2. Lovey says I watch Trick or Treat every October and Krampus at Christmas. Family tradition now with my son. First of all, that's awesome that you got a family tradition like that. Trick or Treat is great. Absolutely great. Talk about, just a fantastic anthology, where, all the pieces kind of are coming together, but they're separate stories, and just bathed in Halloween atmosphere. Yeah, I agree. I love Trick or Treat and Krampus too. Can't go wrong with Krampus. Lovey's also says, I love the filming in 1 and POV and not knowing who the killer is. Yeah, the POV was nice at the time. It would have got old. I'm glad that they kind of changed it in Friday 3 a little bit, where they're going over the shoulder, kind of like Halloween did with Myers. But it was cool in the first couple. Jay Edwards, what's up, Jay? Says, evening, Nick. Doing a wonderful job as always. Well, thank you. Says, hope all is well. Any thoughts or reviews on the horror in high desert films 1 and 2? I have not any thoughts or reviews on the horror in high desert films 1 and 2. I unfortunately have never seen those, Jay, so I apologize. I haven't. Let me pull those up for a second here. Horror in high desert. I want to see, because I've never even heard of them. So I want to kind of see the synopsis here. Horror in high deserts. Where we got? Okay, see, 2021 came out. Let's see here. I'm just pulling it up. I want to see what you're talking about, because I'm curious. It says in July 2017, an experienced outdoor enthusiast vanished in northern Nevada while on an outdoor excursion. After an extensive search, he was never located. On the 3-year anniversary of his disappearance, friends and loved ones recall the events leading up to his vanishing and for the first time speak about the horrifying conclusion of his fate. Well, I'll say this. Just based on that synopsis, I'm in on finding out more about that. I love shit like that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for mentioning that, because I love, little mysteries like that, for sure. Lovey says, I highly recommend visiting the original filming site of Friday the 13th. Well worth the money. Yeah, I would love to. What is that? Camp Nobi Bosco? I can't remember what it's called. It says Camp Nobi Bosco or not, something like that. I'm butchering the name there, but yeah, I heard they have like you can spend the night there. You can pay to spend the night there, at on certain days of the year or something like that, which would be fucking awesome. Awesome. Jim Bob sending in $2. Thank you so much, Jim Bob. Very, very appreciated and super kind of you. Thank you so much, man. Says, thanks for all the content. No, thank you. Thank you. I like doing this, guys, especially I was just going to go to bed early and I was like, let's talk some horror. Let's get on live and talk. Let's see. Real Dead says Trick or Treat is an all-timer. Yep, agreed. And he also agrees that Silver Bullet is awesome. Love it. Yeah, I love Gary Busey's character in there, and Corey Haim, everything. And I don't want to ruin who the werewolf is for people that haven't seen it, but I like that aspect. I like who the werewolf ends up being. I think that's really creepy, especially in a small town. Jen says, one of my favorite franchises is Wishmaster. I haven't seen Wishmaster since I was a kid. And first of all, the name Wishmaster is awesome. I haven't seen it since I've been a kid. Maybe I'll have to revisit that because I know, Jen, I know you got good taste in movies, Jen. So yeah. Rob says, are you a fan of the Creep Show? I've never seen it. See, that's what I mean. I keep watching the same shit over and over and over, and I need to check it out. No, I know what the Creep Show is, and I know, Rob, you'll know this because you're an HHN guy like myself, but I know they had a Scare Zone at Universal Orlando during HHN. Was that last year or the year before? Something like that. But yeah, no, I haven't seen it. Pat Hey, Pat says, camped at Camp Novi Bosco many times when my son was in the Scouts. Took tons of photos. The other leaders thought I was crazy. so, his Scouts actually camped there. That is cool. So you basically got to camp there. You get to be a good dad and go camping with your son for Scouts, and you got to live your horror fanboy fantasy at the same time. That is living, Pat. That is awesome. That is awesome. I'm jealous. Rob says that was actually Creep Show TV or Crypt TV. You're right. Thank you for correcting me on that. I get him confused. Jim Bob agrees with Jen, says Wishmaster was awesome. And Real Dead says Creep Show 1 and 2 are fun movies. Yeah, I gotta watch the Creep Show movies. I haven't seen them, or if I have, it was so long ago that I haven't remembered, or I don't remember. Pat says it's an active scout camp during the summer. Then the tours usually start in the fall and early spring. That's cool that it's still active. That's one thing with the Friday series that I wish they would have continued was, parts 1 and 2 are filmed in the Northeast. I think 1, it's New Jersey, right? And 2 might be Connecticut, something like that, right? But I like that they were filmed in the Northeast and you felt the woods, you felt that you're really at a camp like that. And then 3 happened, right? And part 3, what did they do? Went to 3D, right? And because of going to 3D, they had to move closer to Hollywood. So then they built a man-made lake. And I love part 3, by the way, so I'm not trying to knock it too much. But when they built a shitty man-made lake, and then because it's in 3D, they had to have the lighting just right, so you don't have Jason in the shadows at all, and it just doesn't feel the same as a Northeast camp. It just doesn't. 4 was filmed out in somewhere in California, if I'm not mistaken, as well. And then I know, by the time we get to part 6, it's filmed like somewhere in Georgia, right? And things like that. We never really got that same vibe from the first couple Friday movies as far as location. And that's unfortunate. Lovey says the campers are who made my sign. Oh, okay. That's cool. They sell Friday stuff to help raise money to keep the camp up. That is extremely smart. That is extremely smart. So that's cool that the kids know all about it. That's awesome. That is really cool. That'd be cool to if they did some type of thing where they, you could watch a movie on a projector right on the lake. That would be cool. That would be really cool. Rob says they just dropped the trailer for season 4 of Creepshow and Tom Atkins is back. Going to be fun. Tom Atkins is the man. I can't believe that guy's still acting. I guess he's not that old. He was probably late 30s in Halloween 3 and 82. He was in The Fog, obviously, a couple years before that. I love The Fog, too. I just rewatched that maybe 2 weeks ago. That The Fog is awesome. That just has such, just bathed, like I said, in atmosphere of that whole town setting and things like that. The Fog is fantastic. Real Dead says Friday the 13th Part 3 didn't hold up for me. Some really cool moments, but as a whole, it was just whack. Yeah, it's an interesting movie, right? For me, I have so much nostalgia with Friday Part 3 because it's the first one I ever saw, and Richard Brooker is my favorite Jason followed by Ted White. But Richard Brooker is my favorite, and that shot where he's walking on the pier the first time we see him in the hockey mask, and he shoots Vera in the eye with the harpoon gun. He just kind of tosses it down and looks toward the house. Fucking love that. Love the final chase scene between Chris and Jason. So awesome. But like I said, it's lit a little too well most of the movie. And some of the middle movie drags, and Chris's backstory is dumb. And the whole I find Shelley annoying. So yeah, I get what you're saying. I absolutely get what you're saying. It's interesting how some movies age well for some of us and some age worse for some of us. It's fascinating. Jim Bob says I want a brutal potato head Jason. Sack, mask, it doesn't matter. Just give me Mongo Jason in the woods with tiggle bitties and characters I want to see get it. Yeah, dude, you fill it right in with Blake and Ronnie. I think that's what they want to. They want a Friday movie where it's just picks up with picks up with Jason killing. So yeah, I think it would do well. Absolutely think it would do well. Pat says they just did a watch along Monday of Creep Show, and we're doing Creep Show 2 this Monday. Yeah, if you guys are Creep Show fans, well, I mean, if you're horror fans in general, go check out Pat's channel, Pat the Halloween movie collector here. Go check out Real Dead. That's Real Dead and Lovey, who are both in the chat. Go check out Review It Rob. We got a lot of YouTubers in here, which is always awesome. I appreciate the support, guys. I have checked out all your channels. You guys are awesome. Pat, the only thing is every time I turn on your channel and I see Brett wearing a Cubs shirt, I want to puke. So tell Brett not to wear any more Cubs shirts. God, I hate the Cubs so much. I can't stand them. But Brett's a good guy too. I'm just giving him shit. Rob says Tom is 87. Tom Atkins is 87. That means if my math is correct, he is still getting women who are in their 20s. Right? That sounds about right. That's what Tom Atkins does. And Real Dead says Jason, and between 2 and 3, Jason grew from 5'10" to 6'4" overnight. Yeah, and he hit the gym overnight too because he's got these traps, you know. He's pretty graceful too because Richard Brooker was a trapeze artist, if I'm not mistaken. Michael says Friday 3, part 3, best third act. Friday 4 is the best Friday, so dark and atmospheric. I agree completely. Absolutely, completely. I think Joseph Zito directing Friday 4 really brought that dark tone to the movie. And, you know, there's Ted White's awesome as Jason. You know, the Tommy and Trish showdown with Jason is great. Kills are in both those movies. The kills are just fucking brutal. Absolutely brutal. Adam Howard says, Nick, what's one horror movie concept you want to see that will never happen? Like Chucky versus Leatherface. Could be anything. That is a good. Here's a good question. Or that's a good question, I should say. You know what I want to see? It's nothing that you would ever be able to think about. And that is a horror version of the Odyssey. You know, the Odyssey with Odysseus, the old Greek mythology. I would love to see that turned into, first of all, I'd love to see it remade. The version I saw was like in the 90s. I just love that whole story. But my favorite version of that is like, it was like a TV miniseries in the 90s. Okay. But if they could somehow turn that journey and that story into some type of horror movie, right? That would be badass, I think. I don't think it'll happen. But if you want a versus, that's my answer. It's probably not what anyone would expect. I'm just a big fan of the Odyssey, and I always thought it was kind of ripe for some type of reimagining as a horror story. If I could see a versus, how about Chucky versus Leprechaun? That'd be fun, right? Chucky versus Leprechaun. I think it's an even match. Well, it's probably not. Well, yeah, it's probably even. It's even size wise, but Leprechaun's got these special powers or some shit, right? But maybe Chucky steals the Leprechaun's gold or some shit like that. That'd be fun. That'd be fun. Rob says only time Cubs mattered was in the movie Rookie of the Year. Yeah, I love Rookie of the Year. I love Rookie of the Year. It's got a Halloween connection too, right? With Henry Rowan Gardner in Resurrection. Lovey says Michael Myers versus Jason Voorhees, early on characters. Yeah, I've been wanting to remake a video. I made one way when I first started, and I had like who would win, and I had I had the Myers in order and the Jasons in order. So the Myers from Halloween 1 versus the Jason from Friday 2. Who would win that? Because that would be kind of the even matchup there. And then the Myers from Halloween 2 versus the Jason from Friday 3 and things like that. So matching up some of those characters with one another would be fascinating. Jen says this Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern, Destination Station is doing an all-day Nightmare on Elm Street marathon. I will be on a panel with him. Well, first of all, that's awesome. You're going to be on a panel, Jen. That's cool with that, especially with Nightmare. An all-day. Are you going to be on that all day, Jen? That would be crazy. That'd be a fun yet exhausting day. So yeah, if you guys are Nightmare on Elm Street fans, or if you're a Jen Werner fan, because everyone loves Jen, make sure you guys check that out. Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Here's a fun one that Rob has. I want to see Freddy Krueger versus Batman. That would be fun. That would be fun. Yeah, which version of Batman are we talking? I guess which version of Freddy too, because there's all kinds of different versions of Freddy, even though played by the same character in all the movies except for one. All right, going to go about 5 more minutes, guys. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to get them in. I'm going to go about 5 more minutes, and then I got to wrap it up. I got an early meeting tomorrow. Unfortunately, they always schedule these damn meetings in the morning, and it's like, come on, man. What about whatever happened to 11 a.m. meetings? Let me ease into my work day a little bit, right? But yeah. Lubby says Toxic Avenger versus Zombie Jason. Yeah, that'd be a good one. That'd be fun. That'd be fun. People need to come up with some like Freddy versus Jason, or not Freddy versus Jason, but some of these crazy ideas, like some type of fan stuff, right? Just some YouTuber needs to do something like that because that'd be fun to watch. There's that whole Michael versus Jason fan film, Evil Emerges, I think it's called. It's like literally like 40 minutes of Michael Myers and Jason just battling. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it's like literally like at least 40 minutes long, and the whole thing is just them fighting. Like, it's fucking ridiculous, but in a good way. It's entertaining as hell. I think it's Evil Emerges. I think it is. I think that's what it's called. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Jim Bob says Children of the Corn versus Children of the Damned. Yeah, that would be awesome. Children of the Corn, the original. I like the original Children of the Corn movie a lot. I don't think it's a good movie by any means. Early Linda Hamilton, right? Peter Horton, I think. But I like that movie a lot. I've never seen any of the sequels. And from what I've heard, I probably don't want to see any of the sequels. And Children of the Damned, is that Wes Craven or is that Carpenter? I can't remember. Is that the kids with the white eyes? Is that Carpenter? Or I'm thinking of something else? But anyway, yeah, Children of the Corn, the original, I got a lot of nostalgia with that movie. I remember seeing that as a kid, Malachi and Isaac and just that whole creepy, Midwest cornfield and town and shit like that of Gatlin, I think. Is it Gatlin? I think that's a town in Children of the Corn. But it's a good movie. Jim Bob says Carpenter did the remake. Okay, that makes sense then. That's right. That's right. It's been so long since I saw it, and it's not one of the Carpenter movies that stick out for me. Yeah, I just did a Carpenter ranking video, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. But I only did the top 10. I wasn't going to go through all 19 of his movies on a list because Carpenter's a lot of Carpenter's hit or miss. But yeah, so I haven't seen Children of the Damned, since I was younger. All right, Michael says, Nick, what is the most underrated film out of all the Halloweens and Friday movies? Underrated. That is a good question. At one point in time, the answer would have been Halloween 3, right? I don't think it's underrated anymore. I think it's finally got its due, and I just don't think it's underrated anymore. At least not by horror fans, right? Maybe the general public, but I think it would be between. I'm gonna say possibly Halloween 6, or I'm trying to think of one from the Friday and the original Friday the 13th. I think is underrated. I think it's underrated because of no Jason, and I think it's just everyone's middle of the pack. Everyone puts it at 5 or 6 in their rankings, and I feel like it's better than a lot of the other Friday movies. I don't think it's better than 2, 3, 4, but yeah. For me, those would be the 2 I would pick. Jen says Halloween 3 is underrated. Yeah, maybe it is still a little bit to me. I think it's rated appropriately now. But I do see the argument where it's underrated among among, people that might not be as, savvy and, what's going on as far as, horror fans and what they're thinking. Michael says, I got to go Halloween. So Michael agrees with me with Halloween 6. It gets so much hate. It does get a lot of hate, and a lot of it's justified, right? I mean, the story is fucking absurd. It's ridiculous. But it's got a great Myers. It's got Halloween, the seasonal atmosphere. Both really good. Both really good, right? And I actually agree with Jim Bob here. I actually prefer the theatrical cut. I know everyone loves the producer's cut, right? And it's got more Loomis, which is good. And the story that they're trying to tell, it's got more substance to it, right? But the theatrical cut has, the operating room massacre at the end. That's not in the producer's cut, right? The theatrical cut does not have it heavily implied that Michael raped his niece Jamie, and that baby is Michael's, right? I mean, Jesus Christ. But yeah, so much shitty story, but so many other good things that I think, when you think of Halloween 6, a lot of people think of the story, and the story sucks, but there's a lot of good things in there. So yeah, I agree. Rob says Halloween 2018 is starting to get underrated with being lumped into the hate for kills and ends. Rob, I could not agree with you more. It's Halloween 2018 is interesting to me. When I first saw it, I fucking loved it. Okay. Absolutely loved it. Time went on and didn't age very well for me. But then I saw Kills, and a lot of Kills has some of the highest highs in that trilogy, but it's also got some of the lowest lows. I think the acting, I think the dialogue is god awful. Like a 5-year-old wrote that dialogue. And then Halloween Ends obviously is Halloween Ends, right? Most people hate Halloween Ends. I don't, but most people do. So you're right. Halloween 2018 gets lumped in with that. I absolutely agree. So it's starting to become underrated, even though, it's interesting. It might have been overrated for a little bit of time, but now I would probably agree with you that it's becoming underrated. Especially when you think of the David Gordon Green trilogy. You think of a lot of great things. You think of a lot of shitty things. You think of a lot of great things, right? But you forget that Halloween 2018, of those 3 movies, in my opinion, is probably the best. If you look at all aspects of it, Kills has the best Myers moments, right? I think most people can agree with that. The flashback in Kills is amazing. I hate the hospital shit. But Halloween 2018 is just solid from the get-go. So I agree with you. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me tonight. I appreciate everyone tuning in. I appreciate everyone participating in the chat. I'm going to try to go live more like this. I'm going to try and make it not so random, but sometimes my work schedule has been kicking my ass lately. So I haven't been able to, schedule something and commit to it. It's just kind of been random. But I'm going to try and go live, maybe not once a week, but, whenever I have time, pop on and go live. And, a lot of it, sometimes it might be like this where we're just talking. Sometimes we'll have a topic, so if you guys think of any good topics, put them in the chat or put them in the comments of the video, because I'm about to log off. But like I said, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you guys on the next one.